Hi, good morning Year 11 and welcome back to Term 2. I hope that you had a restful and relaxing break. A few things that I'm trying this term to help it make it a little bit easier for you is creating a video each week with the work that I want you to complete, which means that it's always on your feed and you can access it anytime and it's not going to disappear like in our Google conference on Canvas. And hopefully if you get stuck, you can always go back to the video and find the answer. If you can't, then you can always email me. I'm always here. A couple of things I'm going to try is a new video conference on in Google Classrooms, and it's called Google Meet. I'm going to post the video conference that's already on your page, and you click on the video conference and then hopefully it will actually work, and we will all be in the one spot, and we will hopefully be able to do that once a week during our double, just a catch-up half hour just to see how everyone's travelling. So fingers crossed with that. The other thing I'm doing is I'm posting attendance only on the days that we have class, just to check in, just to make sure that you're getting online and doing the work. And if you have any problems, then you can ask me anything, or I can see if you're having some issues. No one else can see the responses in that attendance, only me. So for today, what I'm going to get you to do is you will need your work booklet. So it looks like this. You got it last term. And we're going to scroll down. So we're going to keep scrolling down, and we're getting up to the page that says, so the last thing you should have done was Elsha's story. If you haven't finished that work, please complete it. There is still some outstanding missing work, and unfortunately if that's not complete, I'll need to be calling home. So that's the page that we should be on. And hopefully you have your booklet here with you. So what we're talking about this in this Core 1 unit, the second dot point is about the perceptions of health. So the first one was the meanings of health, and our second one is our perception. Our perception is an idea, what we think about something. So we're thinking about the ideas around health. So how do we as people perceive or interpret health? Some people might see it as a half full, so positive perspective. Others might see it as a half empty, and that will depend on the person. So looking at your book, it says in terms, the term perception is about how something is interpreted and understood. It's not just what we see, but how we interpret what we see. So some people interpret a situation differently, as said, that positive or negative aspect. Perception is the way in which something is regarded, understood, or interpreted. How something is understood is often related to preconceived ideas and beliefs. Think about how your family perceives health. Think about how society perceives health. So if we think about society, there is still this notion that a man should be muscular, athletic, strong, and that would be a perception that they're healthy. A woman might be more perceived as being healthy if she's thin. Now, I think we understand that these are not accurate, because you can still be, say for a woman, thin and not be healthy, because you might just be not doing any exercise, you might not be eating very well, and just by looking at someone you can't actually determine whether they're healthy or not. So what are some of the influences? So if you're just following on here on your screen, what actually influences us? This includes the media, so we get ideas from the media, our peers, our people around us, and our family influences. So all these influences our understanding of health, as well as our thinking about how, as a whole, we construct health. As a person who goes to the gym and keeps fit, I hear people, talking about that women shouldn't be lifting weights because they get too big and muscular and they look like a man. And that again is someone's perception of what someone should look like or what health should be. So everyone has an idea of what health is, you already do, and it's different from each person. and they're very subjective, and they're open to change. So our perceptions of health, okay, and how we're going to think about perceptions of health is we're going to interpret our own health. And this may include things like our family's perception, our peers' understanding of what health is and how it became, okay, how it was developed, how health is portrayed in the media, our personal beliefs and perceptions, the values, our previous experiences related to health, the environment, and our level of education. So what you need to do is, in your booklet, there is a quiz. You're going to fill this out. I'm not going to get you to do it now. You can, and all you need to do is just pause the video at this point and complete it. What then you need to do is you need to add up your score based on interpretation. So this is mental health, and answer these questions. Rarely, if ever, sometimes, most of the time and always, and then you add up the points, and then underneath it gives you a score. Okay, then you add all the scores up and it gives you a bit of an overview of how healthy you are. Okay, it's not 100% accurate, but it might give you an idea. On this next page, perceptions of health, we're just trying to deconstruct where we get our ideas and our experiences from. And what you need to do in your book, there are lined pages, so you complete it onto your booklet. You are going to complete these sentences. So finish the sentence. Health for me means, finish the sentence. Don't write it in this part, write it underneath. Looking at the answers, what does this tell you about your perception of health, your attitudes to health, and behaviours of health? Okay. Ask 3 people, whether it's in the class or in your family, and they're going to plot you on that health continuum, and you're going to ask them why they put you there. Remember our health continuum from extremely healthy to poor health? You're going to ask other people what they think about your health, and you're going to ask them why. You're going to write that also into your booklet. Okay, what social, economic and cultural factors affect your decisions about your behaviours related to your health? Now remember, there's no right or wrong answer for this because it's your health, and explain how your priorities can affect your health. So maybe socially you're more inclined to want to go out and enjoy hanging out with friends rather than doing some exercise. Maybe your social aspect is playing video games. So thinking about, economic money. Okay, how does that influence your decisions or affect your decisions about health or behaviours? And cultural factors as well. So have a think about those things. They're your personal factors and how they affect your behaviours related to your health. The next one is health behaviour to change, reasons to changes, and barriers that can prevent you changing. So you're going to draw up this table. I want you to find 3 health behaviours to change, okay? So I know it says 1 in there, but I want you to do, I want you to do 3. I'm going to say I'm doing some drawing here. 3 health changes, okay? Health behaviours to change. So maybe it's getting more sleep, which I think lots of you need to do. Reason to change. Why is it important to change this? And what things are stopping you changing this? Okay, I want you to do that into your booklet. And the last question is, what factors do you think motivate people to change their behaviours? So that's another question to answer. Okay, let's see if I can continue my page. My page has decided to freeze on me, which isn't great. Okay, get rid of my little 3. Okay. There we go, continue on now. There's the line pages. The last thing we're going to do for this week is perceptions of the health of others. So parents, elderly, homeless, people with disabilities, our First Nations people. So our perception of the health of others is influenced by our own view of health, okay, and what we know about that person. Just like the view of your own health is influenced by levels of education, beliefs, your family, your perception of others is also affected by these same values or factors. However, unlike our view of our own health, we tend to judge others very superficially. And I really like this little picture. It's in your book, but I can enlarge it. So the girl's saying, everything covered but her eyes, what a cruel male-dominated culture. And nothing covered but her eyes, what a cruel nothing covered but her eyes. What a cruel male-dominated culture. So they're both interpreting and having the same thoughts, but their thoughts are different in terms of how they perceive that person's health, or perceive that person's life, or perceive that person's behaviour. Think about when you look at someone who, say, in this picture here, person in a wheelchair, physically disabled, we might automatically think that they're unhealthy. But we know that there are many people with disabilities that are Olympians. So they must have some level of health. So think about not just the physical, social, mental, intellectual health. So looking down here, our perception of the health of others is open to change as our understanding of a person changes, as our education changes, and as our own health changes. In order to judge someone else's health, it's important to have a better understanding of who they are, what they do, and who is around, and more. And the last thing, how healthy do I think others are? So there's a scaffold here. It's in your booklet, but what I've actually done, and I'll go back to our feed, is I have posted, oh, it's not going to be there yet, but I'll show you here. I've posted here, I've made 4 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's going to be scheduled so you can see it at 10 a.m. and you'll be able to see the scaffold, and you're going to work with the people in your group, and you're going to add ideas around that scaffold. So you're going to think about, how do you perceive the health of elderly people? You might think that they're frail or old or sickly or can't move or always in pain. They're the things that I want you to write. You can write them into your book, but you're also going to write them into this scaffold. So if I just click on this group, okay, only the people in this group can see this assignment, and when you click on this scaffold, it's going to take you to Google Drive, and then you can edit that information and you can write in there. I'll be able to see who's contributed and written on that document. So make sure that you've contributed to your group's work. So that's going to be all the work for this week. Sorry, the video is a little bit long. I'm going to post it and you'll be able to check it out anytime and just work through that information. So it's about perceptions of my own health and the perception of the health of others. And I will see you in our video conference.